Arts, Education, and Equality Subcommittee. It's December 6, 2017. I am calling this meeting to order. I have cards from for a call to the public and Jerry Van Gass.
Thank you, Chair, Pastor, and council members. Here we are at the end of the year. I don't really have a lot to say. I'm just basically a request that the 3PI repayment plan be, it's not on the agenda for today, but I'd like it to be on the January agenda. And maybe by that time, because we seem to be at an impasse right now, nothing seems to be moving forward. And hopefully that'll change before the end of the year. But I'd still like to be able to hash over everything in January. So with that, I'll wish you all a happy holiday.
You too. Thank you. Tim Zarakowski.
Thank you so much. Council people, thank you so much. Merry Christmas. Two different topics I would like to talk about today. The first topic is something Greta, who is unable to be here today, wanted me to speak about. And it deals with the library. And she's asking at the present time that everyone should start taking more of an aggressive attitude when something is not working correctly. So if they receive reports that the pipe pressure is not working correctly, that maybe after a 10-year time period, they would have done something. A project which would have cost $175,000 is now going to cost the people of the city of Phoenix $14 million, and this could have been averted. So she just wants people to realize at this point that we need to start taking more of an honest approach to government and start looking at some of these things that are really important to the people of Phoenix and say, geez, maybe this needs to be fixed. All I'm going to say is, going back to what we've been doing for the last number of years, the library and the Parks Department are kind of similar in a way. We've been trying to get a piece of property listed for now it's been almost 2 years. 2 years for one piece of property to be listed. 2 years. The library started in 2008. They were told the pipes were failing. I'm just trying to figure out at some point how many years into something then is action going to be taken. Because we need to start looking at this and realistically saying, are we representing the people to the best of their ability if things are costing them more money than what they should be costing? Thank you and Merry Christmas.
Thank you. And Charmaine Tyler? Yes. You have 2 minutes.
Hi.
Hi.
I am new to this, and please hear what I have to say. In short words, I would like to speak, and what I have to say is this. Me, Charmaine, am very concerned about the homeless populations and have heard their fears, cries, and complaints along with my own. And we feel the statute or rule and regulations of the parks closing after hours should not become a person's worst nightmare. Here is an example. Between 1 to 3 months in jail as a misdemeanor or any penalty. Consider my concern and let me know what my first step to overcoming this obstacle should be.
So you're speaking about the hours, the park's hours, I believe, close at 10 and open up at 6?
Yes, sometimes it's sunrise, it opens, and sunrise it sets, which is not a bad thing. But if a person is in a position where they have nowhere to go and they don't have family and they don't want to intrude on other people getting thrown out of their house at 2 o'clock in the morning, or any of those obstacles that would be put in their way, sometimes they have to go to the park And if they're not on drugs and if they're not doing anything illegal, I don't think it should be a crime for that person, especially if you a person stands before the magistrates and make that clear and explain that with their lawyers or whatever. That's what I feel should be done, that should be heard, because other people have complained to me personally. And I'm very big on doing something about things. And this is me saying, hey, I see what's going on, and maybe people are not that concerned about it, but here I am, and I'm concerned about it. And I think that it should be heard, which is what I'm doing now, speaking about it. So just the hours.
Okay, thank you. So staff will follow up with us. Item number 1 is minutes of the previous meetings. Do I have a motion for October 25th?
Motion to approve?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oh, Councilman DeCiccio, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
That was unreal. Okay.
yeah. Item number 2 is for consent.
I'm going to be opposing that.
Okay, so do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second that.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those that are not,
Opposed?
opposed?
Yes.
Thank you. Items 3 through 5 are for information only. Do you guys want any of these items pulled?
Nope.
Okay. Item number 6 is IGA with Levine School District to jointly develop park and school site.
I mean, we've all been brief. I mean, I feel comfortable making a motion to approve staff's recommendation.
Second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 It's an early
Motion
Christmas
passes.
present.
Okay. This is what happens when you have an afternoon meeting. Items number 7. It's 2018 Youth Ambassador Exchange Program.
I'm willing to make a motion on this, Madam Chair.
Okay, can I have the students speak first or
Presentation.
the ambassadors speak, and then you
Sure.
can make a motion?
That's up to you. I was just going to
Oh,
make.
wait, there's no
whatever you wanna
action.
do.
It's just a discussion.
Okay.
All right, go ahead. All the rest are for discussion, 7, 8, and 9, Councilman.
Good afternoon, Chairwoman and council members. We are here today to give you a short update on our 2018 Youth Ambassador Program here at the City of Phoenix. I'd like to present the President of Sister Cities, Rita Marco, to give you an update. Rita?
That wasn't me, or it might have been me. I apologize.
I think it's that mic off, my mic.
Okay. So again, Rita Marco, and I have with me Ashlyn Bradshaw and Marcus Wolf, who are going to share some of their insights about the Youth Ambassador Exchange Program at the end of what I promise will be a brief presentation. So Sister Cities was formed in 1972 to foster relationships between the residents of Phoenix and the residents of our sister cities, 10 currently, through educational, artistic, and business exchanges and events. For the past 35 years, we have been sending youth ambassadors. We've sponsored a youth ambassador program and have sent approximately 900 youth ambassadors to our sister cities across the globe. So currently, applications are open, and they're open through January 12th, 2018. And over the next couple of months, we will be working with our youth ambassadors to, once they're selected, to prepare them for their experience overseas, which includes information about their host cities, culture, language, customs, currency, history, geography, the whole shebang. And then they also engage in some fundraising activities which support a hosting calendar that I'll describe in a few moments that happens in July. So in June, it really kicks off where we send our 26 youth ambassadors this year to 9 of our sister cities. Calgary, Canada has declined to participate for reasons of their own. So the youth ambassadors will go overseas for 3 weeks to experience really daily life in their sister city, in their host city. So while the families may have some means to send them to or to visit other local sites or other sites in the country, it really is focused on life in that sister city. School, work, food, bathrooms, a whole range of things that people experience every day. In July, those ambassadors, those 26 of our youth ambassadors, return to Phoenix with one of their brothers or sisters from their host family. And then we get all 52 youth ambassadors for 3 weeks in July. And we spend time with them focusing on local government, particularly city-state government, American holidays, American higher education. And then we do some fun things with them as well. They'll visit Flagstaff, and they'll probably go to Six Flags in California. And what I want to also talk about a little bit is eligibility. So the program is open to sophomores and juniors currently in high school who are both U.S. residents and U.S. citizens and residents of Phoenix. And they have to be willing to travel to any of our sister cities. So the youth don't get to select their city. Staff and the selection panel make that choice for them, largely based on personality. Is it a good fit for them? Would that experience be good for them? We are currently recruiting our 26 ambassadors, and I want to thank you and your staffs in particular for working with us to get the word out through your council district newsletters and at meetings. I know that you've been announcing the application process, so thank you for that. We also are working through our social media, the city's social media, and we've had really good support from the communications office, where they've distributed to about 100 media outlets a news release. Our staff has worked very hard to reach out to about 1,100 teachers in 70 schools, both traditional public, private, and charter. And then it's going to appear in the December Phoenix at Your Fingertips newsletter that goes out to about 400,000 households. So we are really making a huge effort to reach out. This year, we're also taking it a step further and working with Parks and Recreation and their Youth Council. The Youth and Education Office has been wonderful in helping us reach out to their contacts in the community. So we're spreading this as far and wide as we possibly can. Currently, we're working on an effort to make sure that we hit Spanish language media as well.
Rita,
Yes, ma'am.
do we put this in our villages? And what I mean is, each one of our village has an area where we give updates or items. And so
We can
is
do
that
that.
incorporated in there? 'Cause
No, but we can do that.
I mean, I think we have a number of community meetings that we could probably do announcements from the city, or I'm just thinking.
No, that's a wonderful suggestion. Thank you, Madam Chair. We will absolutely do that. In terms of cost, there is a partially refundable fee of $325 that everyone's asked to pay, and the part of it that's not refundable covers background checks once the student is accepted and covers the training that we go through with them in April and May. Travel insurance, which covers any potential medical emergencies while they're overseas. Airfare to their sister city, and then the cost of hosting their sister city brother or sister once they return in July. So those costs in total range from about $600 to about $2,100, because as you can imagine, the airfare is going to be different if you're going to Hermosillo versus Chengdu, China, or Himeji, Japan. So it just depends on the location. Inability to pay, however, does not prohibit anyone from participating, because we have a rather robust scholarship program. Over the last 3 years, we've distributed about $25,000 in scholarships. And when anybody applies, we encourage them to apply for a scholarship as well. Whether or not they think they need it, they're encouraged to apply for that scholarship. And then the committee makes some decisions on the basis of income and need to see what they actually wind up with in terms of scholarship. So I am going to stop talking now and invite you to hear first from Ashlyn Bradshaw and then from Marcus Wolf about their experiences as youth ambassadors.
Hi. All right, so I would travel a lot with my family or with my school, but it was very touristy and it was just kind of surface level. And it wasn't until I went to Grenoble, France this summer for a month where I was going to local restaurants and parks. I was living with the family. I was going to school. I was going to social gatherings with her friends, and we went to festivals. And that's when it kind of hit me that this is what I want travel to mean for me, and I want to experience more things like this. And there was this one time when we were sitting down in France and we were talking about stereotypes in America and in France and other places too. And it made me reflect a lot on how people perceive us and how I've perceived people in Europe and in Asia. And it's from this program, it's made me want to learn more and understand more and make these judgments based off of facts rather than just stereotypes. And then also, my career path has changed drastically from this program. I used to just want to go into film, live in LA, and now I want to still major in film and then move to France for a year after college, teach English for a year, and then hopefully move somewhere else around the world and make documentaries or videos elsewhere. Instead of just in LA or New York where I'm comfortable and just challenge myself. And that's something I would have never thought would be a possibility if it wasn't for this program. Yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I just, also actually, this program made me, we do a lot of training beforehand with public speaking, and with that confidence, I ran for French Club president at my school, and I got it. And so now I get to, represent my school for a country in a language I'm very passionate about from this program. So I owe a lot to them. That's it.
Well, thank you.
Hello, I'm Marcus. I traveled to Chengdu, China this past summer with the program. This program has drastically changed my life. Like Ashlyn, it has changed my career choices. I put this on every job application, every scholarship application, every college application, and it's been really beneficial. I have recently been accepted into the American University of Paris, and something I wouldn't have even applied to that college if I hadn't gone through this program, to really enjoy like the idea of expanding my horizon. And expanding my horizon to new cultures. And also, when I tell them about, on these scholarships, about the program, I tell them the purpose of the program through my eyes. And what I say is that the purpose of it is to create people-to-people relationships through cultural exchange, resulting in hopefully the association between the Phoenix sister cities and Phoenix being closer in association, as well as promotion of coexistence, as well as a byproduct of creating long-lasting and unbreakable friendships. Hence my friendship bracelet. My counterpart or host brother in China, he gave this to me, and basically what it represents is our connection between our countries and our cities, as well as the connection between our families. Because of this program, I can say I have a family all the way across the world, something I couldn't have said before. And then also, this program has opened up multiple opportunities within the community, such as, for example, the alumni of 2018 are planning on going to Hermosillo for a service trip, as well as multiple things around town. We volunteered at the state fair, we volunteered at Cityscape, and multiple things like that, as well as networking and communicating with other organizations. I can know that if I hadn't been in this program, I wouldn't have got connected with the Global Network for Sustainable Development, which is an organization that I will be going to Nepal with this January. And if I hadn't been in this organization and given the opportunity to network and build my presentation skills, I would definitely not have been able to be a part of that organization.
Thank you.
So with that, we just want to remind everyone that applications will be accepted through 5 p.m. on January 12th. They're available, the application packet is available online at phoenixsistercities.org, and we would be happy to entertain any questions.
Questions?
I just want to say I'm really impressed by your presentations. Thanks for coming down today. It's great.
Councilman?
I just really want to thank you for being ambassadors to the city of Phoenix and all those countries. And I mean, what a great program and what a great experience. And what's your major?
I'm looking into international affairs.
All right, great. So maybe in the future you can help us get some of that international dollars to come to Phoenix, right? So thank you both for representing us.
So I have one question, Rita. You had stated that they were, that when they apply, it's wherever the best fit is. My question to that is, are they able to, say, give their rankings of, I would prefer to go to Hermosillo versus, or are they able to say, Hermosillo is my first choice, France is my second?
No,
Because- Go ahead, go ahead.
No, the panel really does look at a number of factors, including how many students the sister city is willing to accept, what complement of students they're looking for, 2 boys, 2 girls, 1 boy, 3 girls. So we have to take that into consideration as well. And it really does come down to personality. So you may think that your best choice is, let's say, Imanji, Japan, and it turns out to be Grenoble, France. It's the panel taking all of that into consideration.
Okay. I guess I would highly suggest, and I know it's a big process, but I guess if I'm a student and I want to experience a certain culture, I would like to be able to at least give my voice of saying these are the preferred countries that I would like to go to. Nothing's guaranteed, and they may not land there, but in that decision making, it's looked at with the ratios of gender, how many. Because they're investing their time, but the other piece is families are also investing money. And I just look at it as, giving them a more of an opportunity, I guess, or a bigger voice in applying.
And I thank you for that, Vice Mayor. I think that I cannot emphasize strongly enough how much time the panel spends not only with the students and their families. And so I think that there is an opportunity for those discussions without
Yeah,
ranking.
Okay.
These are my top 3.
right. Yeah.
My top 3 choices were all in Asia, and France was the one country I didn't want to go to out of all of them, because it was the only country I'd been to before. And so when I found out I was going, for the first maybe 30 minutes, I wasn't happy. And then Bethany pulled me over and she's like, it's not Paris, it's Grenoble. And then when I started preparing for it, I got so excited. I started taking my French class more seriously. And then I became French Club president. And now I'm trying to be really fluent in it. And I look at all the places that I could have gone, and I really, really believe there's no other country that would have been better suited for me. And I think everyone can agree where they get sent is really where they're meant to go for this program in this summer.
Thank you. Go ahead.
One of the connections that each council member has a sister city, and we all visit that sister city. And myself, I'm a part of the Hermosillo, Mexico. So we try to bring business partnerships and all, but we've really never worked with the students that have been to Hermosillo. So I was thinking that it would be a great idea to connect with those council members and the individuals that have gone to those sister cities to because there's so many opportunities where we have young people from Hermosillo coming down here for a baseball game or a football game or a basketball game, and to actually have an outlet, or even if a dignitary brings one of their teenagers or a young person, a young adult with them, they kind of get bored. It's just sitting in these boring meetings, and if there is an ambassador that we can actually maybe team up, if they're available that weekend, then maybe they can just actually hang out at the mall or do something fun instead of being at these boring meetings and stuff like that. So we can actually connect with this program, with economic development and all that, and it can be a win-win for everyone, right?
Vice Mayor, Councilman, that's a marvelous idea, and we will follow up on it. We do have the youth ambassadors connect with the city committees, so they actually have continuing relationships with the volunteers who work to promote those cities, but I love this idea. It's fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you very much for your presentation, and thank you for being our ambassador. Item number 8 is the Parks Board Agenda Review. This is just a review of the Parks Board of an overview of what happened last month, I believe.
Because of the timing of this meeting, it's the previous board,
Right.
not the one for the future.
Vice Mayor Pastor and members of the subcommittee. It actually, I think, is the last 2 months because of the timing. So I'll just go through it very quickly. Information only items were communication update, where we try to show what we're doing with the website and other kinds of communication efforts. Hance Park Master Plan. That particular topic this time was giving an update of where we're at with the design team, as well as the economic impact study. Repayment of 3PI, again, that's on there every month now, and that will be, as we know that we're getting money and it's going towards the payments, we'll have a ledger that says where we're at with that. And then we can bring it back for this meeting as well, as was referenced a little bit earlier.
So Jerry asked for that, and he attends the Parks Board.
That is accurate, he does. And
So
I think that in this next month, we'll have a little bit more of substance to put on it, so he might be a little bit more satisfied at that point.
Oh, okay. All right.
Papago Baseball, that was just to tell them that we were looking at options for the baseball facility, adopt a trail program. We're going to be seeking some donations and sponsorships for that to improve our trail system, specifically in South Mountain. And if it's successful, we'll press it on to other locations as well. Phoenix Suns renovations, they're renovating 8 courts in the city of Phoenix. APS Electric Light Parade, which was on the 2nd of December, was again a very large success, but we were just updating them on that. And then the Natural Resources Division projects updates, those are the 2 big projects that we have going on with Pima Canyon, as well as with Piestewa Peak. Information and discussion, Phoenix Cares program, which is very important program to many of the people who use our parks, and how can that be incorporated into what is happening. Code of conduct, we just wanted to get some feedback from them so that we can go forward and work with the community to really assess what we need to have in a code of conduct that can be used at the parks. We have it in our buildings and we have it in our swimming pools, but we really need it for our parks as well. Park Ranger update, which you're going to hear next, so Alonzo will brief you on that. Phoenix Teens program update has been very successful. And again, working with the previous presentation, we're connecting with those groups as well, with sister cities and the ambassadors. Consent items, the operating agreement for Phoenix Indian School Visitor Center, which was just opened earlier this year. The annual request event in city parks, anybody who wants to have an event and they're going to be selling things, they have to come to the board for approval. And then Pierce Park cell tower, that was on the consent item as well. 2 more items, the Sonoran Preserve Committee reappointments, there was 2 people reappointed. And then also the Heritage Square Foundation, just an amendment to get us in line with an audit finding that we had. Policy items were the acceptance of Phoenix Mountain Preserve, property into the Phoenix Mountain Preserves. Right there at Peoria and 7th Street, there was a little sliver of property that someone could have built on. Now they won't be able to, and this will be coming forward to the whole council at a later point just for approval as well. Modification of hours at Willow Park. Willow Park was just renovated, and the community has asked us to limit the hours during the school day and then have it on non-school days open. They've had some concern over the past several years with some negative activity that's been happening in the parks, in that particular park. There are 3 other parks that have the same hours of this particular park. The Parks Board was a little bit concerned with having just a blanket forever kind of a statement there. So they asked us to come back in 6 months and to re-engage with the community to see if that's really what they wanted to do, or if they wanted to have more opportunities during the school hours for the kids maybe who don't go to school, maybe they're not old enough yet, or even parents who want to go in and use the facilities. So we'll reevaluate that in 6 months, and that was a request of the Parks and Recreation Board. So that was the long agenda that we had, and again, it was 2 months together.
Can you go back to one? I can't find it on this. Wait,
Think about it.
I don't know which.
Which item?
I think it's move one more. Code of. Oh, I think it's the annual request to vend in the city parks. Can you explain that to me?
Sure. So when someone has they want to have a movie in the park and they're going to have refreshments, things of that nature, there's a blanket approval that we go through. And so there's quite a few on the list, and we try to do them all in one list so that the Parks Board can be expedient in doing that. For example, if you're going to have also maybe there's going to be a walk in the park and they're going to be collecting either money for people to sponsor other walkers. When they're collecting money on our site, that's vending. So whether it's for beer or for food trucks or things of that nature, we have to have approval by the Parks Board that they can do that. They have delegated small events that really are only for purposes of, like, if your football team is going to have a thing where they're going to sell to their own participants, they don't have to come through the Parks Board. They can just get administrative approval from our staff. So it's a whole litany of different things that they approve in one fell swoop.
Okay, so if I have a movie in the park, but I'm not, say it's, I think we did. It wasn't in the park, that YMCA. But if I have a movie in the park and we have like candy, M&Ms, and water, say selling for $1, then I have to go and get approval?
Not from the Parks Board. We do that administratively.
Okay. So at what point will I go to the Parks Board?
When there's a larger amount of people and there's more than one, like if you had 2 food trucks, we would ask you to go to the board for that.
Okay.
Because it's becoming a bigger event then, it's not a small event. So like Lost Lake had to have approval to vend in the park.
So how do we get this information out to the community that does these things?
Well, we certainly can and put it for newsletters.
Okay.
We can put it on our website. Generally we get a phone call and we walk them through the steps. And so if there's someone who needs that, we can work with that.
And then the code of conduct. I don't know if you guys have any questions, but the code of conduct. There is, I'm not sure, are we saying we're updating this or we have a code of conduct in the park?
We have a code of conduct for buildings and we have a code of conduct for swimming pools, but we've never really applied it outside in the park because typically we have a code of conduct where we have staff generally there, but we want to expand it where there's a code of conduct and a code of expectations, no matter if you're in a facility or if you're just in the park. So we're in the early stages of working through that because we'll need to get some community input and we'll need to get some community feedback. We wanted to present it to the board as, if you have ideas that you want us to consider, now's the time to tell us. And they really just want to make sure that we're being thoughtful, that we're including people, and that we don't set ourselves up for a situation where we make rules or code of conduct that then get us in a different situation. So we're trying to be really thoughtful about what it is. So that was just the very first initial meeting to discuss that we're going to be going down this path.
So Valley Metro set up for the light rail a code of conduct. And I have heard from many constituents regarding the code of conduct that has been implemented that is not culturally sensitive. So how do you make a code of conduct that is culturally sensitive?
Well, we
And
heard,
who are the experts in that field?
yeah, Vice Mayor, members of the subcommittee, we need to get to those points, right? We need to get those people in and have conversations. That's why we don't have something we're presenting to them yet. We're saying that we want to go down and look at this pathway, because we have situations like, for example, people sleeping on playgrounds. And so when a kid comes to, that's not the appropriate use of a playground. And so we want to make sure that people understand what the expectations are, so we can hold them accountable for what they are and aren't are doing that maybe is impeding other people's opportunities to use the facilities too.
I'm going to head that way because I heard this about Valley Metro's code of conduct. The way it's being looked at is that it's not culturally sensitive in the sense of socioeconomics, race, and even gender. So, and that's going to be challenged. So I would be very cognizant and be able to find someone that has cultural competencies in that field, or in the field of cultural competencies, as these code of conduct are being written.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Best.
yeah.
Because you're heading into some sensitive areas, and we just heard from Charmaine some of the issues regarding our hours, but that's also going to, it all interconnects.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I think we need to be sensitive to that.
And I think that is one of the reasons why we haven't had a presentation or done anything yet, because we're in the early stages of it. And we might get to the point where, maybe it's a situation where we just need to change one or two things on a rule list, and then that's it. So we need to talk through it. There's lots more to do there.
Because I think that goes hand in hand with the hours, the park hours.
Absolutely.
Because my feel on park hours is that park hours are, if there is bad behavior happening in our park, then I don't think we shut it down. I think we deal with it and handle it and be able to bring in all our departments together, very similar to Phoenix Cares, on how we handle situations in the park. So those are my thoughts.
Thank you.
Councilman Nowakowski.
As a father of 6 young children, I mean, I go to the parks a lot, and there's a lot of concerns with other parents. So I think actually having some town halls, or maybe some meetings within the communities throughout the city of Phoenix, or maybe even each of us hosting one, just to listen to the concerns, because it's my concern is when I take my 4-year-old out to the playground, just the cursing and the language that's out there. I mean, and then my children go, "Dad, why are they allowed to say that? They shouldn't be saying that." I go, "Exactly." So I mean, things like that you just don't expect. Even coaches that we rent the fields to, the way that they treat some of their players, and the code of conduct there, that where we have our own leagues and we have a code of conduct for the coaches. I mean, those kind of things that should be passed on to those leagues that rent from us also. So there's some concerns that that are out there that maybe we haven't even thought of. And I agree with Laura, maybe there might be other things that we really don't know that's cultural or so. But the one thing is safety. I mean, that is the number one concern. And I understand what you were saying, but a lot of it's even the safety of those individuals out in a park where it's supposed to be closed, and we don't have any type of security or rangers out there protecting individuals that might be out there at 2 or 3 in the morning. It's our responsibility, if anybody being on there. So that's where, if you pull a card, I think you could. But I think those are just kind of things that we need to hear from the community about the safety.
Vice Mayor, Councilman Nowakowski, we do, for people who rent our fields, they already governed by a code of conduct, because we have a connection with them already.
Charmaine, if you want to say something on this item regarding code of conduct, you may. You just need to, you can go up and then we'll just have you write another card. Or actually, I'll just do I'll put item 8. No, I got it. You can, go ahead, go to the mic.
I would like to say I 100% agree with the concerns of the parents also. It's not just the homeless population. The code of conduct of how we should treat, how the homeless youth and adults should act around parents bringing their children to the park. That concern has been brought to my attention also. And I 100% agree with everything that both you and you have said. I don't know your name, but I agree 100%. Everything. It's just maybe changing a few rules around, maybe having more security. If someone does something that's inappropriate, not punish the whole park, not punish everyone, shut it down, but take care of those people and give them the needs that they might need help with, because everyone is different and people go through different things. So I agree. Working it out. Thank you.
Are there any other comments? Okay, we are now to item, thank you. Inger, are you staying? To Park Ranger hiring program.
Vice Mayor Pastor, members of the subcommittee. Today I have Alonzo Avitia with me today to talk about the Park Ranger program. As you know, through the last budget cycle, we were able to hire some additional rangers for the flatland parks, which we refer to as our traditional parks with basketball courts and playgrounds, things of that nature, as well as being able to extend summer hours for the mountain parks in 3 locations. And so I think you're going to be pleased with some of the information that Alonzo provides for you today.
Thank you, Inger. Madam Chair, Vice Mayor, members of the subcommittee, thank you so much for your time today. Brief information here. A recap really of the 5-6 months last that we came to you as far as a Park Ranger update. Briefly, just to give you an update on the Park Ranger position itself. Obviously, it's tended to preserve, and it really has about 41,000 acres in our Natural Resources Division. They're out there to maintain also that property, which is our trail system. It's about 230 miles as we speak, but that is increasing as well as we're improving South Mountain and some other locations as well. And of course, every time they're out there to educate the public on proper use, provide information, whether it's specific to the Mountain Park Preserve or just the city in general. They see that uniform and that badge. They ask a lot of different varied questions, so it's a great asset to have out there. And of course, public safety, something that we've touched base already. These are, again, the fundamental pieces of the Park Ranger position and what they're out there doing. And that public safety does include enforcement as well. Inger mentioned, just want to provide an update here. In 2016-17, we had 55 total positions. We had 7 full-time Park Ranger 3, and those are really the supervisors, the direct supervisors of the Park Ranger 2s. We had 38 in 16-17, and then 10 part-time Ranger 2s as well, totaling 55. With your support and the community support, we were able to gain 22 positions, which gave us a total of 9 full-time Ranger 3s, 58 full-time Ranger 2s, and of course 10 part-time Ranger 2s were included as well. Which gives us a total of 77, which is a great number. We really appreciate that support from the community and yourselves to include those positions. But again, they are looking at that 41,000 acres, the 230 miles, and of course 182 flatland parks that are out there that we also maintain. So we're very happy about that. More specifically, at least for a reflection here in the last 3 to 6 months, one of the strategies with those positions that you approved was the Flatland Park Patrol Unit. Really a focus in our urban parks to help with different details in those parks, whether it's monitoring the information, educating the public, gaining compliance through education is a lot of the time the interaction they have, or of course enforce those park rules and regulations, because there is a variety of populations out there, and sometimes that is the case, that some certain rules are broken, and it is up to the park ranger to try to hold those individuals accountable. We can go back to that topic, but another strategy we also had for these last 3 to 6 months for these positions was the extended summer hours of operation. We heard loud and clear from the public that they wanted to use our facilities a little bit later in the day in the summer. So the intent here and the strategy here was from June 1st through September 30th, extend those hours of operation from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And that's obviously an effective way to garner more usership and then also provide an opportunity for them to be a little safer out there in the summer months. So that's been very effective. And just to at least dissect that a little bit more, we had in 16, for example, this chart here has the number of visitors in 16 and also the number of visitors in 2017. So at these three major locations, we extended those summer hours. For example, from 7 to 9 p.m. At North Mountain Park, we had 1,022 individuals go through that trailhead. Apologize. In 2017, we had 7,053. That increased by 6,031 during that same time frame. So again, from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. In 16, at that location of North Mountain Park, we had 1,000 users. After extended hours, it increased by 6,000 individuals. So that means people were interested, people were hoping to gain access to those facilities, and so that definitely improved.
And the question I have is, those are summer months. So it opens up at 7, where I would think we would want hikers to start at 5 and maybe.
This is the closing.
This is closing
This is the
time.
closing,
time,
okay.
yeah.
It's still-
Because I was like,
Yeah, great question though. And if I didn't make that clear,
I was thinking 7 a.m.
we were trying to do oranges to oranges here, but
Okay.
it does open at 5
Okay,
a.m.
got it.
All our mountain parks still open at 5 a.m. This is just the closing time from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Of the
Correct.
expansion of the hours.
Correct.
Got it.
So we saw that increase of 6,000 at North Mountain. We saw an increase of about 4,700 at Piestewa, and then we saw an increase of 331. I will note for South Mountain Park, a very popular location, the reason it's a little bit obviously lower is that on that first weekend and the next weekend, we actually closed it down for construction. We're doing a major project there, and so the trailhead was closed. So we expect to see that number, if not the same, if not higher than the other locations. And that really gives you a quick summary of, again, the focus points over the last 3 to 6 months was our flatland unit and also our extended summer hours of operation. And I'll be happy to answer any questions if there's any questions.
Yeah. Are there any questions? No questions? Good job. Thank you. Call to the public, I have no cards. Future agenda items, obviously the 3PI plan. I think Greta's request was, I know I would like to request. I would like to know regarding all our library and park facilities, I would like to know what the maintenance plan is on them. On all our libraries and parks, or which ones need maintenance, I guess.
You want to know which ones are slated for maintenance? Okay.
Thank you. And meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.